Jan Nepomniachtchi has danced his way into the Champions Chess Tour finals, and who does he find waiting for him there? The one and only majestic Cannellini. And wow, what an absolute destruction it was by the world's #1 general manager. We're picking up here in game 2, my favourite of the match. Magnus was playing with the black pieces. Just watch this, insane. So e4 is played, Magnus goes with the rock solid e5. These knights develop and we get a Gucci Reza piano on the board, so named after this guy, the king of fashion in the chess world, Ali Reza. Look at him go, strutting his stuff. Lock up your daughters. Magnus now copies the bishop placement. The arbiters approve of that one. Beautiful copycat chess. And after c3, looking for expansion later, Magnus develops the second pony and we get d3, d6, and now here's some of the moves that white can play if you just want to maneuver around right. Play it nice and slow. But Jan plays bishop g5 and it's a sharper move. You can see the reaction over here of Ival Barovic. Black even slightly preferred now. So Magnus plays h6, the bishop drops back and you can immediately expand with g5, but Magnus holds off. He starts with queen e7 and I love how he plays this position. Now before he can do anything else, we see Jan pushing p on the queen side. The bishop drops back, the lovely bathtub set up there by Nepomniachtchi as well. Bishop's chilling with his rubber ducky, and now a4, given the question mark because castles was preferred, but looks really natural. You're about to squash the bishop, so Magnus gives it room. b5 is played, and he completely forgets which way his pieces are supposed to move, or does he? This is some epic horseplay. Keep your eye on that one. Knight bd2, knight e6. Do you want to chop it off? Give the bishop pair, you gain something, you lose something. Jan says no, castles the king. Again you can go g5, but Magnus starts by immediately hopping forward, and Jan now tries to break out in the centre with the thematic pawn to d4. Magnus is coming on the flank, so he's playing there, and now you can go g5 again, but Magnus decides to develop, pin that knight. It's uncomfortable, so queen b3 is played, attacks the f7 pawn. But I love this. Does Magnus even defend that pawn? No, he doesn't. He goes for the very festive oh, and Andrea starts spinning the beats in this position. We love it. Opposite sides, kings castling. That's what we come for. And speaking of festive, very quick shout out, by the way, the Remote Chess Academy doing their Christmas sale right now. If you missed Black Friday, fear not. They've got an even bigger sale on right now. Insane discounts, plus buy one get one free on loads of courses. Check out the super bundle, it's incredible. Check out the road to 2000. I've used them myself in the past. Very good courses. Get that journey done this year, 2025. Now back to the chess, because it's Jan to move. He plays Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one. We now see g5 finally from Magnus. The bishop drops back, and this is one of the risks of this system, right? That one is just entombed, and if you ever exchange, well, you're opening lines of attack for black. So Magnus to play. Now expanding with the pawn at some point looks natural. You could first cover the g pawn, but he instead plays bishop h5, a kind of waiting move, and he's really suffocating Jan here. You know, not easy for white to play at all. So bishop f1 is selected, clearing the way for the knight to hit the explosive square. Magnus goes king b8 here, keeps Ben Neiman happy, and now I'm curious what would have happened if Jan had just waited here. Some kind of nudgy move with the queen or the rook, but he doesn't do it. He plays rook a d1. Magnus now completes the rook tangle. We haven't seen one of those in a while. The board almost explodes. Thankfully it doesn't. Got some anti-explosion stuff built in for just such an event. And now after knight c4, Jan just completely changes the position. And this is what I mean about I'm wondering what Magnus would have done if it had just waited. But this is how the game went. Magnus now gets the chance to chop here, saddle Jan with these clumsy double Fs. And even though this one's under fire, Magnus doesn't even react now. He plays the excellent queen e6 to start with. Okay, that's a reaction because he is pinning the knight to the queen. Very classy. But after queen c2, Knight still covered, of course. He doesn't even do anything about that bishop. Not that he can do so much, maybe king a7, but no need. He just goes h5, throwing more wood on the fire, saying no worries, take here, shatter my pawns, yes, but the king will hide out on a7, not a problem, the attack still comes. Maybe even black uses the c-file one day. So Jan didn't take. He pivots onto a new plan with knight to e3, looking to jump in on this outpost, and Magnus now just rips open the position here. Now you could go h4 and this kind of thing, but he plays the absolute best. E takes on d4. Why is he opening these lines towards his own queen? You know, e-file, for example. Well, the point is, if black takes back, or white takes back, sorry, then you've got this very nice check which you can play here. And if the king moves, well, now you're going h4, trapping the bishop, and there's no funny business on this square, which there was in some of the other lines if you'd left the pawn where it was. So this is the general theme. And if the king doesn't sidestep and you take, well, now h4 still coming. You've got some big problems with this pawn. It's a big attack for black. Excuse me, not so well today, and not because I had a beer last night, but just this horrible cold right now. Really sore throat, not much fun. Hopefully clears for Christmas. Back to the game here. So takes on d4 was played, and Jan doesn't recapture. He goes for activity with knife f5, but it's actually a huge blunder. You can see over here Stockwhale just pooping its pants because d3 is incredibly strong, and again it's connected with the bishop trap ideas. You know, if bishop takes, you can do this, and you simply trap the bishop. Nothing else to be said. If you sidestep the queen, same problems. You jump with a check, and you know after the smoke clears, you're trapping the bishop. If you move the king, you're trapping the bishop. All the same themes, right? Big problems. So that was an incredibly strong winning move, but missed. Magnus gobbles the second.
Mushrooms.
Also natural, winning material, opening the eyes of his sniper over there, and Jan could play an immediate h4, but he starts by recapturing the pawn. Magnus could now play h4, but decides against it, rotates this knight, and it's on a real tour de horse. Headed for the center, and then this sensitive point. So h4 is now played to try and destabilize this knight on f4. Magnus reinforces it, does walk into a pin, not ideal, but he offers the queen exchange first, and if you go for it, knight recaptures, again you've got big problems here. So Jan decides not to trade the queens. He goes queen d2. Another thing is you don't want to grind like a grandma deep in an endgame with Magnus. Queen's off the board, right? He's going for that knight there, but f6 just supports the pawn on g5. No more issues. King h2 played, and now I love this from Magnus. A really nice switcheroo onto the c5 square, saying if you want to take here, be my guest because you can't take twice or I crash through here. And if you don't take that pawn, well then one day black could be attacking here. Still the knight's coming to e5. It's a horrible position for white. So instead in the game, we see rook c1 played, hitting the queen, but does Magnus move it? No. He plays a brilliancy here. He pops a pony in the center of the board. And look at Fabiano Caruana. Even he appreciates that move, watching on at the time, because if this queen is captured, then you take here with check. Whoops, thought I had this line prepared, but I don't. King h1, you're taking here. Rook still hanging. These knights are hopping all over the place like Kermit the Frog. It's just a horrible position. So we didn't see this queen captured. Instead, bishop g2 covers that f3 pawn. Queen a3 from Magnus, great move, hitting two pawns at once, laterally and from behind. You know, the structure's terrible for Jan. A mother could only love it. And again, if you take on f4, well, this knight can start crashing through and doing all sorts of stuff, right? So Jan goes queen d1. Not the best, it's a bit passive, but it does cover the pawns. It does, however, allow Magnus to simply hop, knight e to d3, and it wins an exchange. But he wants even more than that. He pushes on here with pawn to d5 just for the high five from Garry Kasparov. He gets one, everyone's having a giggle, pawn recaptures and rook takes. I mean, look at these black pieces. Everything now now flowing into the attack. Queen c2, rook ed8 doubles on the file, another threat now to take on f3 if you're not careful, and this is why Jan doesn't even challenge the file here now. He simply gives up the exchange. There's just too much pressure on the position. Rook recaptures, and now the knight drops back to e3. He's trying to be solid, he's trying to stabilize, but another great move by Magnus. Very practical chess. He just goes bang, wipes out that defensive octopus. Now the queen recaptures, the rook's invading. It's a dark squared symphony, and after rook e1 challenging the queen, we see it re-centralize. A black widow spider shooting in every direction. 8 legs. Queen e4 to exchange the queens, apparently best, or try and exchange the queens. King h1, but Jan plays very obligingly now. He takes here, and he's opening more lines of attack because Magnus doesn't even recapture. He plays the best, pawn h4, and white's got real problems. You know, if you capture that one, absolutely suicidal. You can even take here and open up the queen, or even stronger is rook h8. You know, how do you defend this? What kind of move are you playing? Here's a nice checkmate if you decide to try and defend with the king. All sorts of similar lines like that. It's just terminal. So the knight was captured, the queen taking back with check. Now the king runs, and another great move, again just destabilizing all the white pieces. Pawn h3, and what do? In the game we see bishop captures. What else? And you don't even have to take here with check and allow queen g2, but instead there's queen g3, hitting 2 pieces, and that's why we see resignation. You know what to do, you just cannot save both pieces, and the checkmating attack is still on the way. Mate in 7 with best play. You know, here's a sample line of how you can do the kill. Nice computer way to finish it. Amazing game by Magnus Carlsen, and with this and some other victories, he went on to clinch the event. Really dominant performance, this one. Didn't put a foot wrong basically the entire tournament. Hope you enjoyed this one. Check out the Remote Chess Academy. Amazing deals over there right now, and I hope to see you again on a future video. Cheers.